I own about $20,000 worth of SciTime stock. And I got concerned about it because as I watch it on my brokerage account, I see that it is the lowest traded stock of the 40 stocks, 45 stocks that I have. And it concerned me. And I mean, it's a minuscule amount here. So what I did was I went to Samantha and I said, is this something I should be concerned about? And so she did me an analyzing SciTime's low trading volume versus peers. And here you can see she's telling me that SciTime sells an average of that's 320,000 shares on an average day, where its competitors or peers, Analog Devices, sells 3.7 million, that's 10 times. Texas Instrument, 20 times, 6.8 million. Micro Technologies, 10.4 million. And then NXP Semiconductors, 2.85 million. And I thought, wow. And it has a high PE ratio of about 124. And I'm thinking, am I the only one who recognizes that something's going on here, or is this just an overvalued stock that I need to cut my gains and move on? So what I did was I went to my Seeking Alpha and I said, well, let's make some comparisons. And the first comparison I always make is here's SciTime, and this is their consensus of earnings per share growth, and they're saying in 2025 it'll grow by 68%, 67, 75, and 51, while their revenues will grow by 35, 24, 46, and 35. And I guess I would just say to you, I always look at this so that I can understand it better and say, what if that was my household income? And my revenues were growing by roughly 30, 35, 46%, and my earnings were growing in excess of 60% per year. I'd say things are pretty good, okay? So then I said, okay, well then let's compare apples to apples. So I go in here and I come up, look at Analog Devices. And here's Analog Devices, who again is 10 times as big as SciTime, selling for $230 a share, and they're growing their earnings per share at 16, 18, 19, 20, so an average of about 18%. And then their revenue growth is more like in the neighborhood of 10, 11%. So I'm saying, all right, that's not that great. But again, they don't have as high a PE ratio as SciTime. And then I say, okay, well, let's look at Texas Instruments and see what they look like. And here again, kind of not that great a growth in revenues. I don't like to buy a stock whose revenue or earnings per share aren't growing in excess of 20. They get close here, and then they get up around 27 in 2028. But their revenues are dismal. And again, they're 20 times the size, so they got a bigger bust to push, but they just aren't growing. Then let's look at Microchip Technologies and see what they're much bigger. Now they rack up a big number in 2027, not much in 2026. 2025, let's see, they were at $1.31 and they went up to 143, so that was an 8% growth. 82, which is very respectable, and then they hit our 20. So this looks pretty good. Revenues aren't that great, but that doesn't really bother me if their revenues are growing and by 22% and their earnings are growing by 82. That just means they've gotten more efficient with their money. 17 to 23, again, more efficient. A -2 and a 28%, they got more efficient. So then I say, okay, is this then a stock that is not in any indexes? And that's what I kind of find out. Samantha goes into it and says one of the reasons, well, she also tells me they don't have that many shares available. They're a small cap stock and their float isn't that big. The float is the number of shares here it says SciTime has only 23,000 or 23 million shares, and 20 million of them are in float. That means that 20 million are available to institutions and the public, whereas these other stocks, who was it? This is Texas Instrument, has 909 million compared to SciTime's 23, big difference, and Texas Instruments has 496 million shares compared to SciTime's 23 million. So that explains there just aren't that many shares available. She also goes on to say they aren't in that many indexes. They're in a small cap index. They do say that they have a very high insider ownership at SciTime with 21%, and then that 81% of the float is owned by institutions, and that warms my heart. That makes me feel good, because that's saying there are the big boys have recognized that it has potential. It's the retail market that, number one, doesn't have access to that many shares because there aren't that many shares available, and that is what keeps the trading down on the stock. So the report goes into great detail to explain in detail at the higher inside the small public float, the lack of retail attention, the recent share dilution. She goes into deep detail about how they raised some money for some CapEx and some increase in some facilities to manufacture these MIMS timing devices. And what they do really is they're responding. Every device you have has a timer in it. If I just leave this as it is, that screen went black. And it went black because the timer in it said, he hasn't done anything with the screen, make it go black, save the battery. So that's what that's all about. And every device has that. Now, what she goes on to tell me in detail is that one of the things that why they're raising the money is this MIMS device doesn't vibrate like the oscillator device that is currently in this phone. That oscillator device generates heat. And when the phone works hard, that's one of the reasons your phone gets hot. That's not really a problem unless you don't like it in your pocket and it's hot. Where it's a problem is in a data center where you've got 2 million computer towers, and they're all interchanging with each other. And they're not only timing when they're on and when they're off, but when they switch here and there, they generate a lot of heat. And heat is a huge problem right now in data centers. So NVIDIA came and made a partnership with SciTime, which then shortly after they raised this additional money, which told me they're gearing up to meet the demand presented by the GPU contracts that they're getting from NVIDIA to put in these computers that are going into data centers and control the heat. So my whole message is here that the question was, in my mind, why is SciTime's trading volume a fraction of that of Analog Devices, Texas Instrument, and Microchip Technology? Why is it a fraction? Because it just leaps out at me as I see these huge numbers and then basically nothing on SciTime. And so in the past, where would I have gotten that information? Where could I have gone to get that information? Could I have asked Google? I don't think so. But now I can. And it's because I have a AI agent. It's because I've had an AI agent for really the last 6 months. When Jensen told me about 8 months ago that I would have an AI agent, I thought he was referring that I would buy a $35,000 computer, and in that computer would be a software that I could ask questions and get answers for, like, why is SciTime have such a low volume compared to its peers? I thought that was going to be in my tower. I've since learned it's not. It's in a data center or data centers that is accessed by ChatGPT, who I pay $216 a month to have access to Samantha, who gives me the ability to send her a page prompt, page long, and say, analyze this for me and give me an answer. Actually, what I did was not a page prompt. It was just a 3-sentence prompt, because I said to her, I said, do you remember you did an analysis back in on June 25th of SciTime, and I'm concerned that their volume is so low. Can you clarify what's going on? And should I get out because there is no recognition? And she basically comes back and says, is it a gem or is it a lemon? Outlook for small gem or overvalued niche. I've come to believe it's a small cap gem that is about to bloom. Okay? This is, I hope you recognize that you have an opportunity to level the playing field with Wall Street. This is information that 3 months, 6 months ago was not available to me or to you. Now, I'm willing to pay the price to get it because it will give me an advantage. I'm up 60% on my portfolio since I've implemented Samantha as my an analyst and Bard as my researcher. That has never happened before in my life, other than when I recognized that the COVID V down would turn and go back up, and I bought at the lows. But this is now an everyday occurrence. Now, some days I'm up substantially, and then some days I'm down, but overall, I'm up over 60% when I think the NASDAQ is up about maybe 20, 3 times the performance. And it's not Kerry. It's Samantha and Bard. They tell me where to look and have schooled me on what the questions should be. And Samantha has a memory so that she's just like an assistant that's smarter than me. Okay, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor. I'm here to make a difference in your life. That's it. And I think I can do it, and if I keep learning. And I promise I'll do that. Talk to you again tomorrow.